Hey beautiful people, welcome back again to the channel. It's Dale here and I am your captain. Today's video is going to be divided into two parts. Okay, so part one will be differences between the UK and Australia in general. Okay, the part two will be differences in nursing in UK and nursing in Australia. If you watch this part one, make sure you subscribe for part two, because if you enjoy it, you're gonna enjoy the next one as well. I asked some of you on Instagram to ask me a question on life in Australia, and I'm gonna be answering those questions, and I'm gonna add some things that were not asked. Okay, so let's answer your question.
I wanna flex my love, I wanna impress.
It is more than 2 months since I am here in Australia, so I'm gonna put this disclaimer out. If you're not want to listen to someone that has just recently come into a new country, you can as well skip this video. I'm saying this because I'm tired of hearing, oh, you just came, what do you know about Australia? Or you just came, isn't it too new? I don't need to live in a country for 100 years to know little bits and bobs. Okay, so save yourself that stress of commenting. If you know you don't want to hear my own opinion or my own experience as a 2 months old, you can as well subscribe and wait till I am 100 years here in Australia before you come back and watch my opinion. Okay, so first question here: size of house or rent, wild animals, cost of groceries, Naija food in general. Let's start with the size of house. With the size of houses here in Australia, they are relatively bigger than the sizes in the UK. Grant, you're gonna get some houses here in Australia that are a bit small, but as a general rule, the houses here are much bigger. Okay, give you an example. I'm going to be showing you some houses I viewed. Some of them are small, and that's because I was looking for an apartment. But if you're looking for a house like a 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, you usually see some that has a pool, that has a big garden. Okay, it is relatively bigger here in Australia. Majority of the houses are bigger here in Australia, more spacious. Even when it comes to apartment, there's a studio I went to view in Australia, in Sydney here, and it is even much bigger than my 1-bedroom in the UK. So yes, it is much bigger, much spacious, much storage spaces here compared to the UK. I know that there are some houses in the UK that are spacious most of the time in the countryside, because my house in the UK was quite spacious for a UK standard. I'm not saying that the houses there are all small. No, that's not true. There are some houses I've seen in the UK that are modern size and they are larger, but generally the houses in Australia are bigger and more spacious, larger garden and a pool. Most houses have pool here in Australia. So yeah, if you're going to get a house 2, 3, 4 bedroom, you easily get one that has a pool. Because of the weather here. Okay, so yeah, let's go to the second one. The second one says the rent. Now, comparing the rent UK and Australia, the rent here in Australia is paid every week or fortnightly, which is 2 weeks. When it comes to the cost, it depends on variable factors. You need to know what kind of houses do you like. Do you like new build? Do you like old build? So it's very hard to tell somebody that this one is expensive, this is how much you pay, this is how much you not pay, because it depends on your taste in house. If you love old houses, it's going to be cheaper, of course. Houses here, I found it a bit cheaper compared to what you get. Because I live in Sydney, I cannot compare the house prices in Sydney to the house prices in my former city in the UK. I would likely compare Sydney to London, because Sydney is the most expensive cities in Australia and London is the most expensive city in the UK. If I want to compare London to Sydney, I would say personally, from what I've viewed and the value of what you get, the houses here are much cheaper than London. The next one, you said cost of groceries. I feel like the cost of groceries here are more expensive. I would do a video on cost of living in general and give you more detailed figure. I'm planning to do a video of how much I spend in a month, so look out for that video anytime from now. But generally, I found out that groceries here are more expensive, especially fruit. God, I went to buy what's this fruit? Grapes, and I was shocked at the price. No, and what I was told by one of my Australian friends is these fruits comes in season, so when it's out of season it's more expensive. So the UK fruits are the cheapest. Like God, I miss that about the UK. But yeah, generally I found out that groceries are more expensive here. Next one is Naija food in general. So yeah, you find Nigerian food, but like I said, it's still more expensive here because of the distance, and yeah, but you find everything you need, you find it here, but it's more expensive than I was buying it back in Bristol. I usually shop online in Bristol, but it's more cheaper in the UK than it is here in Sydney, Australia. Like I said, bear in mind that this is relatively Sydney, and normally Sydney is more expensive than other parts of Australia. So you might get things cheaper outside Sydney, okay, but I'm speaking based on Sydney. Someone is asking the best city to live that is family friendly. I would like to say that I don't have children. When you say family friendly, I think you're adding your children and all that, but I am just living here with my husband and we are young, so for us Sydney does it, okay. But generally I've heard people say that for children, like more laid back lifestyle, people prefer Brisbane, okay, or Gold Coast. So you might want to look at what you like. Do you like a laid back city for you and your children? You might not like Sydney because Sydney is a bustling city. It's very busy. Everyone is on the go, but it's still a bit laid back. It's not as busy as compared to London. I would say, from my own point of view, I've been to London, and whenever I'm in London, I'm like, I can't breathe. But here in Sydney, it's not too populated, but still compared to other cities like Brisbane, it is much laid back. People prefer that, so you need to think of what you like for yourself. But generally, that's it. If you like a more chilled island, you might look at Hobart. Hobart is in Tasmania, and it's also very, very calm as well. People have also mentioned Adelaide. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it very well, but it's in South Australia, so you might have to look out for that as well. But for now, Sydney does it for us. If we tend to settle down, start having kids, we might move out of Sydney, but for now we are happy here. The next question here is social life, things you do outside of work, making friends as a new immigrant. For me, I am someone that loves socializing, but I'm not someone that goes out often. For social life, there's loads of social life here in Australia. If you follow me on Instagram or on Facebook, you know that last month Davido actually came to Sydney. We have loads, especially here in Sydney. Sydney is life of the party, okay? We have loads of things going on, like the Opera House. There was always an event. You just have to, it's money, you have to pay for this event. Blake is coming as well. Like, a lot of things are just happening in Sydney. You will never ever be bored here in Sydney, as long as you're ready to go out, okay, you find it. And there are lots of hiking group, tourist, a lot of tourist things just happens here. There's a Blue Mountain to visit, there's a zoos to visit. It depends on what you like as a person. There's just a lot to do here. When you compare it to the UK, I would say there's more life in the UK when it comes to social life, okay. I'm not going to say that here, but it also depends on the city in UK. If you go to the countryside, it's not the case. But if you're in London, compare London to here, you get more social life in London compared to Sydney. Like I said, it depends on where you go to in UK and where you are here in Australia. If you go to the countryside, it is boring. For me, what I normally do after work, if I want, I can take a walk, I can run, okay, because the weather is very nice, very, very nice. I'm not even kidding you. Like, I'm wearing this and I'm hot. I want to wear this because I want to film, and I didn't want to like be extremely naked, because usually I shouldn't be wearing anything at home anyways. It's very hot here, so the weather encourages you to be outside. And every place you go out here, there's always a park, there's a pool, like there's just so many outdoor activities. There's barbecue area. Like, almost every houses I went to view had a barbecue space, had some of them have gym, some of the apartment have gym. So you really have a lot of things to do when you're off, so you can never be bored, okay. You can never be bored. For making new friends, it all depends on your personalities. Generally, people here are all friendly. You cannot walk down and not see someone to say hi to you. If you see someone, they will always like to say hi to you. They want to see my hair, they want to ask me how are you. Even at work, like, everyone is friendly. And bear in mind that if you come to Sydney, Sydney is multicultural. You see someone from China, someone from Hong Kong, someone from India, someone from Nepal, someone from South Africa. Like, there are lots of people, so everyone is just so happy and bubbly and want to know you as well. So making friends here is very easy, I promise. Especially in Sydney. I don't know for other parts of Australia, but I'm speaking based on experience. And because you have to be open to friends as well. You don't just frown your face and walk and expect people to look up to you. Like me, I always smile. So when I smile, and people will be like, oh hi, and then we start conversation. Okay, so you have to be friendly as well. You don't just expect people to be friendly to you when you're not open enough. Okay, but next question, the person is asking transportation. Okay, UK transportation and Australia transportation. Now it depends on the area you are living in both countries. Okay, I've lived in Manchester and I've lived in Bristol. I would like to say that the transportation in UK generally is better than the transportation here in Australia. Okay, in the general view, I've lived in 2 cities there and I've only lived in 1 city here. Here in Australia, because I live in Sydney, which is a busy city, the transportation is very good as well. However, I've got to understand that people in other cities are having difficult time getting public transportation. So I would like to say it depends on where exactly you live in both countries. Even in the UK, there are some countryside you will go and live. Buses will come every 30 minutes, or even they don't come, or they don't pass through that route. Okay, but here where I am, you can easily get buses every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes. You know, it's like that here in Sydney. But it also depends on the route where you're going to. Here they also have the rail station. Well, it's not as good as the UK. Okay, that's what I'm going to say. But like I said, it depends on the exact locations of both countries. But generally, the UK wins when it comes to transportation. And I would like to say that the buses and the train here in Australia, they are cleaner. Okay, they are so clean. You barely see litter here. Like there was a time I was in the bus here in Sydney. I'm not even lying. The bus, somebody dropped a litter and left. And do you know what? The bus driver parked the bus and came out of his shield. You know, they have a shield. Came out, picked the litter and put it in the trash. That's how clean the buses here are. But in the UK, it's not too bad, but the cleanliness of transportation is evident here more than all the buses I've been to in the UK, both when I was in Manchester and when I was in Bristol. Okay. Right, the next question is tax.